Welcome back to the channel, Book Dragons. I'm really glad you're here with me today. Quick disclaimer, please bear with me. I'm under the weather, not feeling the greatest, so if my voice sounds a little scratchy, whatever, it's because it is. But I'm here for you. I'm here because I want to make you some content, and I'm just keeping it easy today. This is going to be a book tag. I was tagged in the In Your Wildest Dreams book tag by Rebecca at Reading with Rebecca Nicole, and I'm really excited to do this. And this was created by Heather Reads. So I'll link both of their channels in the description below so that you can check those out. And please support those other content creators. And we're going to get right to it. This is a pretty fun tag. The first prompt on this tag is your fantasy time and place to read a book. This is tough because I don't really necessarily have a place that I dream of reading at, but I do love being at the beach. I went to Maui in the Hawaiian Islands back when I was in my mid-20s, and it was just a really awesome time on Maui. So I think if I could read all morning on a beach in Maui, I think that would just be really awesome. And then I could go over to the Westin Hotel on the island and get myself a papaya smoothie. So sitting on the beach with a papaya smoothie in one hand, my book in the other, and just soaking in that lovely beach scenery. I think that would be awesome. Prompt number two is your fantasy personal library, or your personal library if you have attained your fantasy. Well, I haven't necessarily attained my fantasy, but I would love it if I could have one room with wall-to-wall books that I have curated. And notice I said curated. I don't want all the books. I just want ones that specifically mean a lot to me. So I would have wall-to-wall books curated with those books, and with my bed nestled in among those books. And I mean, I kind of have that right now. My bookshelf is in my bedroom / office, so I kind of sleep among my books. But what I'm thinking of, I don't know if you have ever seen those pictures of fantastically carved beds with bookshelves layered along the bedposts and stuff, and sprawling out across the room, kind of like a tree almost. So it's kind of like the bed and the books are all built into this one tree. I think that would be absolutely awesome. So, in my wildest imagination, that's what I think of. So, and granted, it would have to be a fake tree, right? It couldn't be a real tree, because then I'd have to be watering it all the time, and I do not have a green thumb. I am very good at killing foliage, and we don't want that. We don't want foliage to die because of Chaz. So, we'd keep it all fake, but, or maybe it would just be the wood and nothing else. But, yeah, that's my fantasy personal library. Prompt number 3. Imagine you have decided to build a bookshop. What would you call it? And I went back and forth on several different names. I couldn't come up with one that I really felt spoke to me necessarily. So the one I'm putting here is the Tattered Page. I would call it the Tattered Page. But there's so many good ones that I could do. I could do the Book and the Claw. Since I like dragons, I could do the Book and Claw or something like that. So, the name is up for debate. But I definitely want something fantasy inspired, or at least book inspired, for the name of my bookshop. Would it sell new or secondhand books? Both. I think there's room for both in a good quality bookshop. Have some new, have some used. And yeah, I think that would be awesome. Would it sell anything else? Yes, I think it would be cool to sell fiction-themed drinks, like coffees and teas, and maybe even adult beverages after a certain hour. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that, And also fantasy candles. I think that would be great. I've seen places online that sell these fantasy-themed candles, and or fiction themed candles. So I think that would be really cool. And the last part of that prompt is, what features would you want in that shop? Okay, now I've got a lot of features that I want to add to my bookshop. I'm just saying. Listening stations would be cool. Like if we could have it where people could listen to excerpts of the audiobooks of books they're looking to borrow. If they're thinking about a book and they don't want to necessarily browse throughout the bookshop, but maybe they want to listen to snippets of those books on audio. I think that would be really cool. Maybe I'd partner with a audiobook company or something like that. I would have separate entry and exit doors, and the entry door would be called prologue and the exit door would be epilogue. I'm just thinking out loud, right? And I would also have a little free library section. I think that would be cool for people to be able to come to my bookshop and find some free books. People come in and donate their books and take books out of the library for themselves. So I think that would be cool. And I'm sure there's other things I could do as well, but those are the ones just off the top of my head there. Prompt number 4. One person, not a Booktube creator, with whom you can have a good conversation about books. If you don't know a person like this, who do you know that you wish would become a reader so that you could talk books with them? Well, this was pretty hard, not being able to do a Booktube creator, but I do have a couple of people. My really good friend Tracy is a book reader as well as an author, and I can talk books with her. And also my partner. My partner is a bookworm, so it's really awesome to talk books with her as well. So I've got a couple of people outside Booktube that I can talk about books with. And then prompt number 5, if you won $1 million, or pounds, or yen, or euros, etc., it would be dollars for me, and you could only spend it on books or book-related items, how would you spend it? Now, this was a fairly tough question for me because I'm a minimalist, so I really try not to have a bunch of stuff. So I wouldn't be using that $1 million to buy a bunch of stuff, honestly. But there are some things that I thought about. The aforementioned bookshop up in question number 3, I could put that money toward purchasing a building and things like that to house my bookshop in. I think that would be a really good use of that money. And I could spend it on books to fill that bookshop and, to start up, get my business licenses and everything like that, if I wanted to do that, So I could use that money for that. And I would also like to be able to donate books to various charities and schools. So I would donate books to various different organizations to help people who don't have access to books. I think that would be a cool way to use that money because I really don't need that money for myself. I'm not going to buy a bunch of bookmarks and a bunch of books and extra bookshelves and things like that. I just don't need it. But other people do. So I would personally use it for other people other than maybe starting my bookshop. So, yeah. And then the last prompt on this tag is to tag people. So I'm going to tag several people. I'm going to tag Alyssa over at Into the Heart Wild. I'm going to tag Danielle over at Bookcara. I'm going to tag Jake at The Bookish Drummer. And I'm going to tag Anna Marie at Distilled Reads. And I highly recommend that you all check out their channels. They have some amazing content. And I'm going to tag one final person because they just started doing Booktube. They just did the Booktube newbie tag. And that's my good friend Jenny Parks over at her channel, Jenny Parks. So I'm going to tag her because she's brand new to actually doing Booktube. She's been a follower of Booktube for a long time. She's a great friend. And now that she has a channel, I figured I might tag her in a tag. So here you go, Jenny. I hope you do this tag. Guys, like I said before, make sure you check out all these great channels. And also, make sure that you are reading more books. Until I talk with you again, have a great day. And I'd like to give a special shout out to all my patrons. I really appreciate all you do to support the channel. Thank you so much for what you do.